Hey up everybody, Magpie Gaming here, I hope you're all doing well. So in this video I'm going to talk about the recent server issues that Escape from Tarkov's been suffering with. Now this isn't a rant at Battlestate Games themselves, I have absolutely no issues with them. I love Escape from Tarkov, I think those guys are doing an amazing job with the game, so I want that to be clear from the start. This isn't a rant at these guys, I know that they're doing everything they can to keep this game up and running in its current state because we've had a lot of new people come into the game. This is a rant at those people out there, the self-anointed Tarkov police that believe they can shoot down any argument that people have about the current state of the game by simply saying that it's a beta. It's beta, you can't say anything, it's beta, you signed up for this, it's beta, what do you expect? Yes, the game is in beta, I understand that. Along with everybody else that is playing this game, you know, none of us are idiots, we all know what we signed up for when we signed up to play Escape from Tarkov, when we handed over our money for the EOD editions, you know, it was a lot of money. But the issue is that the game is in beta, the servers are not. So why is the game in such a sorry state just recently? Now, I've been playing for 2 years and I haven't experienced server issues like this with the game before. The only time I've had server issues with the game is when they've done a wipe and they've brought a newer version of the game out. Then you get those 24 to 48 hour issues where everybody's trying to download the new big update, everybody's trying to get on. People that had stopped playing the game because they knew that there was a wipe coming have come back to it. There's a huge influx of players and the servers tend to struggle for 1 to 2 days, maybe 3 days at the most, and then everything dies down and goes back to normal. Now we've had that for 2 years and that's not been an issue, you know, I accept that. But since 0.12 came out, things have been a little bit different. Now obviously we had a lot of issues when 0.12 came out. There was roughly around 5 days of issues with the game afterwards. There were a lot of hotfixes, a lot of bugs and things like that were shown up. Those were soon sorted out and the game settled down. Then we got to the holiday period and they did the Twitch Drops events, which just brought so many people into the game that it seemed like server capacity just wasn't good enough. It wasn't enough to, you know, handle the influx of players. You had the Drops events, which brought a lot of people, you know, into watching the game. Subsequently, a lot of those people bought the game. You had the likes of Dr. Disrespect start to play the game. You know, he reaches out to millions of players through his streams and through his YouTube channel. So again, a lot of people think, if that dude's playing it, I'm gonna play it. So they all went out and bought the game. And to me, the issues that we had from that moment onwards just seemed to be an issue over capacity. So I would have assumed that at that point, Battlestate were thinking, right, we had this much capacity before for this amount of players, we've now got this much, the same amount of capacity, but for this amount of players, which has got substantially bigger. So we need more capacity. And in recent podcasts, this is what they've said they are doing. I mean, they've added new servers in Australia, I believe. They've added new ones in South America, they've added new ones in North America. As a side note, it's been interesting to note that there's been no mention of EU servers, even though we are struggling just as much as any other region seems to be, but there's been no mention of any kind of extra capacity in the EU. But anyway, that's besides the point. So they said they were adding all these new servers, etc, etc. Nothing really changed, even though these new servers were added. During the week, got a little bit better, because obviously there's less people playing at that point. But then on a weekend, when the vast majority of people are free to play because they're not at work and things like that, the servers just seem to do a massive shit on a Saturday and a Sunday evening, and you don't seem to get anywhere with the game. So then they came out and said that it was a coding issue. They said this in a recent podcast, that they had people basically sat at the office 24/7 trying to keep the servers going, that it was a coding issue and that they were looking into it. Now, I don't know which one is it, capacity or a coding issue, or was it both? I don't understand. Now, since they implemented 0.12 and they moved over to Unity 2018, they said that they were working closely with Unity. Now, if this is a coding issue, surely they would still be working closely with Unity to figure this out. This is a big game that showcases what Unity can do. You would think that Unity would be like, yep, we'll help you, what's the problem, let's have a look at it. But nothing seems to be really changing, and we seem to be getting updates to the servers quite a lot over the last week at least. We've had 3, I think, since Sunday evening so far, and nothing, I don't know, it doesn't really seem to be improving the issue. So, but I don't really mind what BSG are doing in the background and what the overall issue is or isn't. You know, I have full trust in them that they're going to figure it out. They've figured everything out in the past that's been wrong with the game, and they've eventually got to the point where they've got past that. But these people that simply want to go, well, it's a beta, you can't have an opinion. Of course you can have an opinion. Of course you can go onto the multitude of social media platforms and all of the pages and all of the Twitter accounts, and you can voice your opinion about this game. You're allowed to. For people out there that work all week and can only game on a weekend and then they try to game and they can't, they're allowed to have a little bit of a moan and a rant. Maybe they're directing it at the wrong people, but at the end of the day, they're allowed to have an opinion about this. Simply saying that it's a beta does not cut it. The game is beta, the servers shouldn't be. So something needs to be sorted out with the servers, we all agree on that, but simply saying that it's a beta just isn't an argument. It isn't a reason for the things that are going on. Yes, we all signed up to it, but even though it's a beta, it's a product that you have paid for and you expect a certain level of service. Yes, none of us are expecting 100% service. That'd be stupid to expect that. But 90%? Yeah, why not? 80%? Definitely. But we're not even getting that sometimes. So, and all the time we've been doing this video, or I've been doing this video, in the background you can see one of the games that I had on Sunday night. It was up and down, up and down. Now, I didn't start gaming until 9 PM on Sunday here in the UK. Within 5 minutes of me launching the game, I checked my phone and there was a tweet from Battlestate to say that they were aware of some users experiencing issues getting on the game, and I thought, you know what, just right when I start to go and get a game. Between 9 PM and 11:30 PM on Sunday evening, I managed 2 games on the Escape from Tarkov, and one of them is the one that you can see in the background right now, and it was just on and off. The first game, we was kicked out of it completely and couldn't get back into it. The game just shut down, kicked us out back to Windows. We all launched back in, and we was given all of our gear back, which was good. That seems to happen every time with me. I know that a lot of people moan that they don't get their gear back and they lose a lot. I always seem to get mine back. I don't know why, but I'm thankful for that. We then managed to get into another game after what seemed like an eternity, but it was probably about 30 minutes it took us to get back in, and it just kept kicking us off. Everybody was walking on the spot, the scavs were walking on the spot, we were being booted out, and we could still hear our characters taking shots and getting hurt. It was one of the weirdest raids I've ever had. But you know what, we got there in the end, but I haven't had any returns from that. I ended up dumping all of my gear and simply quitting the game. Didn't get no returns from that, got nothing at all from either of those games. Everything was insured, but I've had nothing back, but whatever, I'm not too bothered. But yeah, this argument of saying, it's a beta, you can't complain. Yes, you can. You still have a voice if you want to. If you're one of these people that doesn't like people moaning about the game, just don't go read what they're saying. Just stay away from it. When somebody puts a post on ranting about the state of the servers, just scroll on by and carry on. Going on there and simply saying to people, it's a beta, you can't complain, really doesn't cut it, and it's just a waste of time and energy. But as I say, it's a rant at those people, not at BSG. I love BSG, and I'm sure that they're doing everything in the background to make sure that this game is a success. I, along with a lot of other people, including the vast majority of the Tarkov community, want this game to succeed. And I'm sure that they're doing everything within their power to make sure that it does. It's just, we want a stable game, and I don't think that's too much to ask for, and it's annoying when you get these people that seem to defend every little bug about the game. This isn't working, but it's beta. That's not working properly, well, it's beta, so what? It doesn't excuse everything that is wrong with the game at the moment. So yeah, it's a little bit of a rant video, this. It's not often I do one, but again, like I say, these people are fucking pissing me off now. And I know that somebody's just going to put in the comment section, well, it's a beta, just to annoy me a little bit more. But yeah, there you go. Like I say, not ranting at BSG, I'm sure they're doing everything they can. I'm just ranting at these little keyboard fucking warriors that seem to anoint themselves the Tarkov police, and that they can shoot any argument down with saying it's a beta. Yeah, I know it's a beta. I'm well aware of the agreement I signed up to when I started playing this game, but I think it's moved past beta status now. I think you could argue that it's well past beta status now, and it's more or less early access. Now, whether you want to say beta is above or below early access, I'm not too sure, but you're going to end up into a whole other argument there about the status of the game, and I'm not really willing to get into that right now. But yeah, I'm sure they're doing everything that they can. I just wish these people would shut the fuck up with this beta stuff. Anyway, that's enough from me. As a side note, I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If you are not currently subscribed to the channel, it would be awesome if you could consider doing so. I'm putting out news videos about Escape from Tarkov. I'm following it 100% with the channel now. I'm doing quest guides for it and other handy little guides that I'm putting together at the moment. So if you are an Escape from Tarkov aficionado, do consider signing up and helping me get to that 1,000 goal. That would be amazing. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.